Hi guys, good afternoon. My name's Josh. I'm the owner and founder of the Biodude. I'm really excited for what I'm going to be building for you guys today. I love these frogs. I did a video a couple years ago with these, but I know a lot can be improved upon that video, and I'm really excited to share it with you. I'm actually here at the Biodude Houston. You can come visit my store and see my showroom here Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, and Saturday, 10 to 5. So let's go on over here. I have an ExoTerra 40-gallon breeder in front of me, and what I'm going to be building it for is a pair of my tomato frogs. So check it out. I love me some tomato frogs. They are an amazing species, and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about them. These guys are from the Microhylidae family, commonly called narrow-mouthed frogs. This is the largest family of frogs on the planet, which is I found to be really, really cool. They get their name just because of their intense, vibrant red. Females get more of that bright red tomato color, where a lot of times your males are more of a dark orange coloration. Females can get about 4 inches long, guys. Like, that is a big, fat frog. Males rarely exceed 3 inches. They can live a long time. Life expectancy is around 10 years. So when you get these guys, you really want to make sure, that you're able to commit that amount of time to them. What's also amazing is if you provide them a large enough of enclosure, you can keep them in groups rather successfully. You just need to have a really established cleanup crew, as well as, I love these guys. Look at them go. Yeah. Yeah. And I really like these guys. Being fat frogs, they are pretty fossorial, which means that they spend the majority of their time on the forest floor, deep in their little burrows, utilizing the ambush predator. We do already have some powder blue isopods in here, but I'm going to be topping it off with some other types of isopods. Now, these guys are from the eastern rainforest section of Madagascar, which I think is just another reason why Madagascar is so awesome. Honestly, I can talk about these guys all day long. The last thing, if you give them enough stimuli, they release this, look at her flaring up, they release this whitish, very sticky goo that, if ingested, can make you pretty sick. So like with all amphibians, we highly recommend making sure that you wear gloves, as the oils in your skin can damage them. All right, Bertha, let's go. Okay, so in here I have some terra firma, as well as a little bit of leaf litter. Now, guys, this tank, this soil has actually been cycling for a really, really long time. Like the biodegradables and the substrate's been actually set up with the substrate and the spag moss. So when it comes to the mixing and everything, it's already been done. And we do have some powder blue isopods in here. I am, though, however, going to top off some Springtails, because I saw some in here, but not as many as I would like. So here we do have some tropical Springtails. These will do great in the temperate environment. Okay, Springtails are in. I'm then going to add in a little bit more BioShot. When we set this tank up, we mainly put in the bugs and some of the processes. We put a little bit of BioShot in here, but definitely not enough for the 36 plus 12 quarts of substrate that we use. So I'm only going to use about half. So I got about half my bag left over. Then from there, I'm going to add in just a little bit more biomass in here. This is the leftover stalks that we cut off of the palm. Now, if this is something you guys would like me to offer as a biodegradable, let me know in the comments. We can definitely do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these, and I'm just gonna kind of mix these thoroughly up in the soil. Now, what's gonna happen with these guys is they're gonna slowly absorb moisture and slowly get enveloped by the different bacterial and fungal processes that occur in this terrarium, which aids in the overall adding of nutrients back right into your soil to help with the sustaining ecosystem. Then I do have some more other types of isopods here. These are dairy cows. Now, I gotta be honest, I'm gonna try keeping these with the small population of powder blues. We're gonna see how they do. There's potential I may have to start pooling one versus the other. So I got in all of my necessary toppers. Now I'm gonna put a little bit of magnolia leaves. So you can see this tank, there's just a little bit of magnolia in here, or a little bit of leaf litter in here already. So essentially I'm gonna break it up. Okay. Let's do a little bit of mixing. Sorry, Isopods, sorry, Springtails. Here we go. Okay, I like it. Before I get planting, what I am gonna do is give this enclosure a nice misting on the inside. Now I'm doing this because I wanna have this have a little bit more of a moisture content in it. Now I am not using a drainage layer for these, like I never do with my Firma, by the way, unless it's really deep. I'm gonna be paying very close attention to making sure that the top of the layer does dry out, that there's not water collecting at the bottom, and that it still does what it's supposed to do in the form of retaining all tunnels and burrows. So let's do the test here. Okay, let's try over here. Cool. So I really wanted to be able to give these guys a lot of areas to hide, but I still want to be able to see them. So the first thing I'm going to do is I got a really nice cork bark flat right here. And I'm going to actually kind of put the flat like this to create a little underground cavern for them. Okay? So I got to thinking, well, what if they do want to come out and just kind of sit on top of something? So I did find this really nice piece of dragonstone that I really do like. And it does kind of go with what I want to do as far as how I want this tank to look. So I'm really making sure that this piece doesn't have any like really sharp edges. I did thoroughly inspect this before putting it in, and I'm comfortable enough to say that my frogs will be just fine. And then I do have a cork tube. Now I like this tube because they can just fit their fat little bodies in here, but I'm also not trying to take away a lot of floor space for them. So what I am gonna do, I'm gonna move this out of the way real quick, knowing where I want it. I'm gonna lower the substrate here in the back, so it's only about 2.5 inches deep. Okay, I'm gonna go like this. And then I'm gonna take the substrate that I put up here in the front. So this gives them an entrance here. The other small hole is completely covered up with substrate, and then they have another entrance right here at the top that they can easily get in and out of. That will take a little bit of work on their end, but that's good, right? And then I got the rock. Boom, right like this. Now I do have some plants, which I'm really excited to use these because I'm trying to get taller plants in the back and leave the front semi-open here. So I'm just gonna kind of play around with these, and I'm just gonna kind of see where I wanna place them. So when you're choosing plants for your tomato frog, you wanna look at robustness. Can these plants handle being trampled on by these beasts? Can they, and will they, get uprooted? And if they get uprooted, will they perish? If the answer to any of those questions is they will perish if they are uprooted for a long period of time or a short period of time, or if my frog steps on them, they crumble, then I would perhaps consider an alternative. I want to see this nice root system in here. I'm going to leave a little bit under there, okay? So I did grab an arrowhead vine. There you go. Yeah, I like that. Okay, I got the fern right up here. There we go. We got this beautiful Aglaonema right here, which this is gonna go right. I expect these roots to start creeping into the cork, if I'm being honest, which I think would be pretty neat. Okay, so I moved some things around, but that's what I do. Really like that. Then I got some other miscellaneous pieces of cork bark here in the form of flats. So I got a flat right here. And I got another flat. Actually, I'm not trying to take away a lot of their spaces to chill. So I do have some really nice nut pods here. I have some ram's heads right here. And then this nut pod's pretty cool. I'm gonna kind of put it like this, that way it holds water towards the back and just drips out of the front so they can go in slower if they so desire to do so. I'm actually gonna put that pod right here like this in the front. Another tiny piece of food for the cleanup crews for sure. So now I do have some leaf litter. I do have some magnolia leaves. Now, as I said before, tomato frogs in the wild are very secretive. So this is one of those things, I like using broadleaves for fat frogs because A, it lessens the chance of them, you know, accidentally eating it, which again, when you're on loose substrate with fat frogs, you know, that is gonna happen sometimes. It's just making sure that they're healthy enough to be able to pass it. As far as what we're going to be feeding them, we are going to be feeding them, you know, various roaches, some worms if we have some extra worms, such as silkworms, Goliath worms, and then as well as giving them crickets. We do have these guys for sale at our point of sale too. You can come and check them out and see if they are the right fat frogs for you. Got a nice water bowl right here, which I'm gonna put right here, right in the front, so it's easily accessible. And then last but not least, we have some more of the dairy cows. Be free! So we're gonna see how they do. I know they're really gonna like the nut pods, but we'll see how they fare with the powder blues in the exact same enclosure, as well as with the springtails. I'm gonna give this tank a really good misting. I am gonna take a small piece of cork, and I am gonna put this in the water bowl. I wanna be able to make sure if these guys wanna get in the water bowl that they can actually get their fat little bodies in there. However, I also want a piece of something in there that if the crickets, roaches, or isopods go into the water bowl, they can actually get out and not just drown and make it really gross. Now, as far as UVB is concerned, these guys can benefit from a very, very mild Ferguson zone, although I've never kept them on UVB. I do recommend making sure that you provide them at least 4 to 5 inches of substrate. When it comes to our routine schedule, we're going to be making sure that we consistently have enough leaf litter in here, as well as wood products for my cleanup crew. We're going to be misting the tank every single day, likely for about 30 to 45 seconds to maintain that mild to high humidity range spike. And then of course we will be feeding the tomato frogs a varied diet. Many of them, if it's a roach or a cricket, gut loaded with my bug grub, as well as fresh greens and carrots, dusted with Repashy Calcium Plus and Repashy Supervite when it comes to our supplementation schedule. And again, guys, I really can't talk about how amazing these frogs are. They are not too terribly difficult to take care of. Just in the aspect of you need to make sure that their parameters is met. They cannot get really hot, like I said before. So it's really important to make sure that we keep them right at low room temperature between 68 and 75 degrees. Always make sure they have clean water. And as far as fat frogs go, I mean, look at them. They can secrete a toxic goo. The females get like a small softball or get like a softball, and they are bright, bright red, and they're from Madagascar. What else could you want? And it's even more amazing is when you buy babies, they're only about this big. They're about a little bit bigger than a quarter. So you can really enjoy watching them become the gelatinous blobs that they become one day. Really happy with how this enclosure turned out. I think this is a really good example. There's a lot of different areas for them to go. So again, just to reiterate, they can get into this cork tube in here. And if I find that they are starting to go in there a lot, I might put some sphagnum moss in there. So that way it's a little bit more comfy for them. They can get in this way they can get in this way, but they can get all the way down to the bottom of the substrate underneath this plant by how the cork tube is buried into the substrate. They can get into the little niches back here behind the rock. The rock also provides undercover here. There's an underden here. There's a little shade spot here, as well as a big broadleaf plant right in the back to cover up some of that open space. All in all, we're making them feel as secure as we possibly can. We are giving them enough space so that way they can move around and be active, as well as making sure that they have the chance to thrive. Again, guys, my name's Josh Halter. I'm the owner and founder of the BioDude. Visit my website, hit that like and subscribe button. Dude abides.